WSKID, Skid Row Radio.
You're listening to radio station WSKID.
Hello everyone, just an update on the situation surrounding Bradley Manning, the suspected leaker of information released to the world by WikiLeaks over the last year or so. This guy has been classified as a model prisoner by top brass. Obama himself has stated that apparently he's being held in line with all basic conditions and everything's fine, don't worry about it. Although recently some high-level officials have been denied access to meet with him in private, including Denis Kucinich, who has written basically a little article there talking about his experience with being denied access. And it raises serious questions about the inconsistency of the rhetoric coming from the Department of Defense and the State Department. So I want to read this little article for you by Kucinich, and it should give you an idea as to what the concerns are there. So he says, since my initial request to visit Private First Class Bradley Manning on February the 4th, 2011, the Department of Defense has consistently sought to frustrate any attempt to communicate with Manning regarding his well-being. I or my staff have been shuffled between the Secretary of the Army, the Secretary of the Navy, and the Office of Secretary Gates. I was initially told that in order to meet with Manning's, I would need his approval. When Manning indicated his desire to meet with me, I was belatedly informed that the meeting could only take place if it was recorded because of a monitoring order imposed by the Military Special Court Martial's convening authority in September, which was convened for the case. Confidentiality is required, however, to achieve the candor that is necessary to perform the oversight functions for which I am tasked as a member of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. I was also told that I could be subpoenaed to testify about the contents of my conversation with Manning. This is a clear subversion of the constitutionally protected oversight process, and it severely undermines the right of any member of Congress seeking to gather information on the conditions of a detainee in US custody. Though he's been held in custody since July 2010, Manning has not been convicted of any crime. His lawyer reports that he continues to be held in isolation for 23 hours a day. He was also forced to strip naked at night and to stand at attention during a roll call in front of other prisoners. The conditions of his treatment may violate his right to be protected from cruel and unusual punishment, and punishment without trial as enshrined in the 8th and 5th Amendments of the Constitution. We now hear that the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture, Juan E. Mendez, was denied a private meeting with Manning in order to determine whether the conditions of Manning's confinement amount to torture. The very existence of a UN Special Rapporteur on Torture investigating speaks volumes about the conditions of his treatment. The continued delays I've experienced amount to a subversion of Manning's legal rights, as well as my own rights and obligations as a member of Congress to conduct oversight. The whole world is now watching. What is going on with Secretary Gates and the Department of Defense with respect to Manning's treatment is more consistent with Kafka than the US Constitution. I will not cease in my efforts to determine whether or not the conditions under which he is being held constitute torture. So this is an argument that's been put forward by many high-level officials and people that have looked at this situation, and that it could be argued very robustly that the conditions he's been held in are analogous to torture, certainly psychological at least, which is probably just as damaging as physical torture, although you could argue that there is physical torture there as well, given the fact that he's only allowed to have 1 hour of exercise per day, and that is only allowed to be a kind of walking around in a circle, basically. So nothing. So he's going to be. He has weakened considerably physically, and it's been reported that mentally it seems that he's kind of losing his grasp a little bit as well, finding it hard to communicate and this kind of thing. So yeah, they're kind of been ritually humiliating him. Basically, sensory deprivation, almost you could call it, with the 23-hour solitary confinement in everything but official name. They don't call it solitary confinement, but it effectively is. But Obama's rhetoric has been, everything's fine, I've checked with the Department of Defense and it's all above board, he's been cared for, don't have to worry about it. And he's a model prisoner, according to the highest officials commenting on this. So if that's the case, if he's a model prisoner and if everything's fine, why would they not allow a private meeting with him simply to talk about how he is feeling? Remember, this is a guy who's not been convicted yet, being held pre-trial. So there's really worrying inconsistencies there, especially as well when you take into consideration the fact that we've recently, in the last week or so, seen the US make inquiries about detainees of US citizens being detained in other countries demanding to meet with them and to to assess their human rights as well. But it seems on their own soil not as willing to allow detainees to be given those same rights. So this is worrying that they kind of seem worried to allow even UN representatives and even US congressmen, representatives, politicians basically, to meet with him just to talk and see how he is. It just doesn't add up. So links to everything in the low bar that I'm talking about. Also links to a Time magazine poll where Manning is currently, I think, 8th. So that's just something to do. It takes a few seconds, and just to raise the profile and just to get, I mean, if there's a public kind of celebration of this guy or his support, then it's going to be a little bit harder for them to just ignore these issues. And he is a hero, in my mind. This is if he is indeed responsible. It's not been proven yet, but if he is, then this is a guy who had the bollocks to stand up and say, what I'm seeing done here is wrong, and the world needs to know about it. And from the things that have been released over the last year or so, I don't think there can be any argument that a lot of this stuff is stuff that we should have known about and stuff that the government shouldn't be allowed to get away with or to hide. And that's many governments throughout the world, of course, not just the US. So you've had high-level officials denied private access for a meeting with him. They've been demanding that it needs to be monitored. This is not in line with the requirements put in place for these kinds of checks that are standard routine procedure. Juan Mendez has stated that there's over 18 countries that have allowed him to carry out these private meetings, interviews with detainees. The countries all around the world allowing this to happen. Again, Manning being a model prisoner, it's been admitted, and also not a danger to himself or others. And pre-trial, not convicted, model prisoner. Apparently, nothing wrong with his confinement conditions. Why are they not allowing this private meeting? It doesn't add up. This comes also hot on the heels of a UK parliamentary debate where it's been discussed. His conditions have been discussed because it's been shown that Manning could have dual citizenship. Although he doesn't hold a UK passport, his mother is Welsh British, so he does have a claim for dual citizenship there. And Manning's family has actually officially now asked for the UK government to assist with the investigations into his confinement conditions there. So there's going to be a lot of pressure now on assessing this situation. Now, it's clear to me, at least, that they don't want these interviews to happen because it could very much put a spanner in the works in terms of assessing his when they finally bring him to trial. It could prove a big stumbling block for them to actually convict. If it can be proven that he's been held in basically conditions that are analogous to torture, this could really hurt any case brought against him. So I'm sure they don't want any unsavory truths about his confinement to come out. So all eyes on this. Again, links in the low bar. Go check out the Time poll, and thanks for listening. I'll speak to you guys later. Bye bye.
Our next speaker is Ray Harris. Ray is the president of Iraq Veterans Against the War here in the Pacific Northwest. He served and fought in the U.S. military in Iraq from November 2006 to December 2007. He was born and stayed in Oregon, and he's here to talk about ending the occupations and the war. Ray Harris.
Stop clapping. This is not a celebration. This is not a holiday. We're dying. Our sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters are dying on your behalf in an illegal, unconstitutional war for profit against the sovereign state of Afghanistan and Iraq. And now our government has taken it upon itself to start killing people in Pakistan with your money. 2 days ago, 38 people were killed in Pakistan with bombs that you paid for. The U.S. government says that they were militants. The Pakistani government says that they were peaceful demonstrators. Who do you believe? Earlier this month, 9 kids were killed in Afghanistan by a drone. Boo! They were killed by Apache helicopters that you purchased. We are governed by a war machine, a military-industrial complex that seeks only to serve itself and expand its powers. It has no interest in shrinking. Does anybody even remember the government asking us for permission to bomb Pakistanis? I don't remember that at all! The war on terror is a racket, and you are paying for it. Truth is the first casualty of war. I saw the sign. The worst enemy of the war machine is truth. But in America, our government punishes those who expose truth with methods fit only for war criminals. Bradley Manning is a hero. We deserve the information. Here's some faces you don't see on the news. These guys were killed in Iraq, St. Patty's Day, 2007. I was there. They're not coming back. Nobody who dies comes back. Lots of people are dying. And the money that the government steals from you doesn't just go to kill people in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. We fund oppressive governments all over the world, from the Taliban to the former government of Egypt.
Even Bin Laden.
Even Bin Laden.
Fact. That's a fact.
It is a fact.
We assisted Bin Laden to fight against...
Doing what we're doing today puts victory within our grasp. We have to do it often. We have to do it loud. If we don't persevere, if we don't continue doing what we're doing and speaking out, gathering, peaceably assembling, our future will surely look like a boot stamping on a human face forever. End the war. Stop the bloodshed for profit. And bring my friends home.